Morning, everyone. I love this day. It's Monday Mindset. We hope you had an awesome weekend. Good morning, everyone. This is Carol Sue, aka Naughty. I always say that and it says naughty every time when the dialect comes up. But anyways, Naughty Boss with
TwoSistas. Hey, good morning, everyone. It's Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0. Amazing start to the week yesterday. And, taking that much time off, always on the computer, and I've designated as much as possible Sundays as no computer time. I mean, yeah, I got to go on my device here and there, whatever, but it really was nice to implement that. And I woke up this morning feeling like I had already accomplished something so amazing. So that just felt really good.
And it's so true. We talk about that. We're constantly inundated with our devices, whether it's a computer, iPad, your cell phone, whatever it may be. And there's something to say about turning alerts off. So ironically, I did that a couple times this weekend. And of course, as soon as you turn the alerts back on, they all pop in. And then now we are actually, I believe it's 36 days out to November 8th. So you're getting a lot of those political texts now because they know a lot of people have no landlines. Most people run their households now there's still a good amount of people that still have a landline, but most people, it's one expense when, you're really starting to curtail ways that you can save money. That is one way, get rid of your landline. And a lot of people do that. So they know that. So that's why we're getting all these texts on our cell phones about, political ad donations, news alerts, which to me are not even really newsworthy, but sometimes they feel they just got to, keep hitting that alert button. So it is great for your mind to go back to conversation. And actually, something that came up and I actually did a post about it, friendships, it's just been a high topic of conversation across the board from my own personal life to other people's lives, to, even fellow entrepreneurs, and the art of friendship and what it means to have that healthy mindset going into that relationship. Because we know all relationships, whether it's a marriage, couples, boyfriend, girlfriend, children with their own friends. I mean, it takes work to have friendships, right? Especially the ones that, are constant in your life. You're going to have those peaks and mountains and, ups and downs with that. And how do you learn to gather, which is one of the great books I'm reading about, the art of gathering, and really have it impactful. And so many times people are just so inundated with cell phones, social media, texting, that they forget to pick up the damn flipping phone. So it was just one of these whirlwind things where everyone was just, the topic kept coming up again. And I finally, a lot of people asked me, like, how do you deal with it? And I said, look, at the end of the day, there's some acceptable ways to communicate for ease, for emergencies. But there's something to say about picking up the phone and or being in person and having that conversation. And I'm always thinking that the art of conversation, which is really part of the art of gathering, is almost going to be like a long lost thing that no one's going to do anymore. And frequently when that happens, when you rely solely on social media, your mindset goes into this almost computer zone. And, we always talk about keyboard warriors. Well, the same applies whether it's on a laptop or whether it's on your cell phone, right? And then you add in, because apparently this has been happening to a lot of people, they add in that people are under the influence of something. Alcohol would be the top one, I would say, that I know of. And then, you get that liquid courage and you start texting away and dishing out information like that either is not relevant, the receiver has no idea where you're coming from, and then you get this misunderstanding, and you get this texting more going back and forth. So a lot of people, and I've been privy to it. You get sucked into it because you're trying to like have the person hear you. And I thought, no, I'm not doing this. And I was telling a couple of people that were asking me, and I said, no, just, the art of picking up the phone is so lost. And I think for me personally, I finally encouraged someone to do that, and they did it. And they said, oh my God, I didn't think you would pick up. And, ended up being on the phone for an hour and a half, great conversation. You air out those different things, or a lot of the times, they're getting pieces of texts from other people that transfer into your relationship that have no meaning, and or that's where all the misunderstandings come in. I said, just pick up the flipping phone. And the bottom line, to have that good mindset, it's none of our business what other people think about us. It is not our concern if someone's talking about us. If that's what someone does and you consider them, quote, a friend, they're not really a friend. If they don't take the opportunity and the time to say, hey, you hurt my feelings. Oh, I didn't know that. And the other key piece is the lost art of, the power of three. I am sorry. A lot of times people will say things and they speak before they think. That's humans. We do that, right? We sometimes blurt out things and maybe you're thinking it's coming out the right way, but it's not necessarily coming out the right way. And you realize inadvertently, because there are some people out there are some mean girls, mean guys out there that purposely will say things to get your goat. We know that. But I say for the whole, let's give credit to humanity that a lot of times it's just a slip up. They really didn't mean to sound that way, or they just didn't think about what they were talking about when it came out, right? So I think we have a lot of grace has to go into friendships to understand that. But at the end of the day, if you are struggling, with creative ways and your mindset is just all over the place when it talks, when you're thinking about your relationships, at the end of the day, ask the person to pick up the phone. You'll save yourself a lot of heartache. You may not even resolve it. Maybe you'll have a better understanding. It may be not resolved in the way that you would like it resolved, but you'll maybe appreciate that person's perspective of where they were coming from, and or get a little bit more posture, a little bit more thick-skinned to understand that some people just are not going to like you. Some people are going to talk about you. Some people are going to make fun of you. Some people are going to snicker at you. Those people should have no relevance in your life to begin with. And so it's therefore, because they have no relevance, what do you care what they say? So I think, this weekend was really, and actually not just this weekend, in the last few weeks, I've been hearing more and more, people complaining about their friendships and what to do and how to deal with it, and go back to the old-fashioned way of having a conversation. And that is talking, not texting.
I agree, because there is a disconnection. People think that they are connecting virtually, whether it's social media, whatever it is, but there's still that disconnection. And the fact that if somebody, and there's too many assumptions out there. And when you start making those assumptions without having all the facts, that's where miscommunication happens. So if you have, for instance, something came up, I don't know, a month or two ago, and obviously I'm not going to say names or anything like that, but something came up where somebody said something to Gary, oh, how come Janice hasn't called or reached out or whatever it was? And he's like, well, what do you mean? Well, they had this conversation back and forth. And what he said was, well, don't forget, she's like nonstop going back and forth between Connecticut and Philly. And if you're that concerned, then maybe that person should reach out to her, or, whatever, like, call me. And that's where assumptions come in. And, we've all done that. We've all assumed something, but the bottom line is, if you want to connect with someone, pick up the phone. Texting, connections through social media, whether it's Facebook Messenger, Instagram. Now, what a lot of people don't understand about those types of connections are, like, I am not getting a lot of my messages. Like my text messages on my phone say I have no messages, but when I go in it, it's like it has a bug, like all these messages start to appear. And the same thing in Facebook Messenger. So if you're trying to get me by text message or Facebook Messenger, chances are I may not see it because it says that I have none, but when I go into it and then all these messages fill up. And
What I will interject with that is a lot of people don't realize that if you're connecting with someone and this is really specifically if they're not on your friends list of social media, it goes into another category of chat. So a lot of times you have to actually go search for them, and it's under, people you don't know or unknown user or whatever it may be. So if it's somebody that you don't know, that's what's going to happen. The other key piece of that is, I think across the United States over the last couple of weeks, a lot of people are having issues with text messaging. Even like in our family chat, John was telling me, oh, this is funny. And I'm like, what? And I'm like, I didn't get that. And here we're sitting next to each other, and he could be 7 text messages further down than I've even received. We have the same plan. We're in the same, household. We're sitting next to each other, and you have 2 phones, one that's getting all of them and one that either takes a while to update or I don't get them. So I think a lot of people are like, oh, they're not responding. Well, chances are maybe there's a technical issue that's not even known to the receiver, because a lot of people, around, obviously in Florida, they're really thinking it has something to do with the past storm, which it does. Cell phone towers and stuff like that are extremely down all across Florida. So we're having major cell phone issues, not just even with texting, like calls dropping, that kind of thing, all over. It doesn't matter whether you're west side, east side, more on the west side, but still impacting everywhere all over Florida. So there's that issues. And then I just know from people in different types of acronym offices that there's stuff going on with the service. So, don't assume somebody. And the other key piece to that is a lot of people, we're with our cell phones because we're entrepreneurs, we're online, that's how we do our business. But a lot of people do not keep their cell phones like close to them like we do. So chances are, give the person the benefit of the doubt that they just didn't see it. Don't you think? Just give people the benefit of the doubt.
right, exactly. And, it occurred to me with the family messages, of course. Gary wasn't here Saturday, and there was some family text messaging going on. Now I heard the dinging on his iPad.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, what is that noise? I'm like, oh, that's his iPad. And then I happened to look on my cell phone. I'm like, oh, okay, I don't have any messages, but it kept dinging. And I'm like, wait a minute. And that's kind of when I tuned into it, like something I'm not getting. I don't get the alerts. And then
Right.
I went in, and then the whole thing filled up, and I'm like, oh, wow, I missed a lot.
You do. And so I always say, give people the benefit of the doubt. But at the end of the day, relationships take work. You have to have a healthy mindset, knowing that, hey, you know what, this relationship is of value to me. And in order to, keep it going strong, I got to nurture it. A lot of people think, oh, friends for life. And there are those friends that you have the uncanny respect that you don't see each other often, and yet you can still pick up where you left off. You do have those special friends that are truly, I have a lot of those that I cherish very much, that we still nurture, but we don't see as often as we, time restrictions, geographic restrictions, whatever it may be. And we don't even chat all the time, but we just kind of have that mutual respect that our lives are our lives. And when we do get to see each other, we make the most of it, and it's joyful. But relationships, and the other thing, I think the other missing link with relationships is too many people are too focused on what I'm going to get out of it. what am I getting out of this? Instead of saying, hey, what am I going to put into it? What am I adding? What am I adding to the gathering, the art of gathering? What am I offering of myself that adds value and joy and kindness to the relationship? That does not ever mean a good, healthy relationship will have those times where you're butting heads, because that really shows, that you both have strong personalities and are strong convictions, strong passions that you're sharing with each other that you don't necessarily agree on, but you have that mutual respect. At the end of the day, you work it out. And then you have others that, if you find that you're putting in so much into the relationship, no relationship is 50-50 ever. It could be 60-40 one month. It could be 70-30 on the opposite side the next month. Good relationships have that balance. It's never 50-50. Even marriages, even your close partner relationships, it's never 50-50 if we want to be honest, because it can't be. It's impossible to be. We're human. Things take us away from maybe giving at any one moment. But at the end of the day, that we know that there's a balance, then that's good. But if you're finding that the relationship is 90-10 all the time, or it's 80-20 all the time, you're the one giving, you're the one constantly keeping in contact, you're the one making the plans, you're the one checking in, you're the one there, when they need you, and it's not reciprocated. And there again, that's where that percentage changes. But if you find that it's constantly the other way, then that's when you have to say, you know what, is this adding joy or is this adding stress? Because we know that putting into a relationship is effort. Regardless of whether it brings you joy, it's still effort. It still takes time. And if you're finding that you're the only one giving, and it's better to give than receive, but if you're always giving to the point that you don't have joy with the giving, that's a key piece to tell you, wait a minute, I got to rewind here. I got to reevaluate, and don't just like back off. And that's too many people do that. They just done. Don't want to know, see ya, wouldn't want to be ya attitude. Instead of first, I always say, give it that one last kick in the butt, meaning pick up the call, definitely picking up the phone and saying, hey, what's going on with you? Because chances are there might be something going on, but then the chances are that, the reality is that maybe you've outgrown each other or they're just not vibing you anymore. It happens. Don't take it personal. A lot of people will take it personal because we're human beings. Our feelings go hurt. Like, what do you mean that person doesn't want me in their life anymore? That's hard to hear. That's hard to feel. It hurts your heart, right? But at the end of the day, I think the art of gathering has to start with the art of talking, communication. And that doesn't mean text messaging.
Right. And the other thing that I noticed lately, as we're talking friendship and social media and connection, is I don't understand, and I'm baffled by this. I don't understand why people on social media have to put out a post. Oh, I'm cleaning my friends list. If you want to stay friends with me, you need to, like, if
that one is my interpretation. That's an attention-seeking post. I have a lot of entrepreneur friends that do that, and they truly believe that like sparks up engagement. I personally don't believe that. It's not my jam, but I do see it and I crack up. And I will usually leave a kind of a snarky, funny remark like, "Oh, I made the cut."
See, I don't even respond. I just find that utterly ridiculous. That's my take on it. I know that when we're on social media, we use it for social media and other means, of course, business and that sort of thing. And it's the art of connecting. And, a couple people sent me friend requests this weekend, and I don't respond to them right away because I want to see who they are. Do we have connections? Do we have similar interests? Because I do love connecting with people. So I accepted like one or two. Immediately got this message from someone. It was very nice. Thank you so much for connecting. I love those kind of messages. And
Yes.
then came, I call it the zinger, and I don't mean that in a bad way. Oh, I have this thing, blah, blah, blah. And I'm an entrepreneur too. I get it. And I was busy with something, couldn't respond right away. But then I get like maybe 10 minutes later, you with me? Question mark, question mark.
Well, kudos for them putting it out there. Number one, you got to give them kudos.
Oh,
for
yeah,
that.
absolutely.
But I agree with you. There is an art of, what they call the elevator pitch, which is really an old term. To me, I think a lot of entrepreneurs, when they first start off, especially if they're passionate about something and they are a go-getter, they just don't understand the art of doing that, because there's an art of reaching out to people, wanting to see if they're interested in an opportunity and or what you're passionate about. There's an art to doing that. And I think, to no fault of many that first jump on board, they just don't understand that. They're not taught that. They're not, their leadership team or whoever they're connecting with is not really sharing the, just a cleaner way of reaching out to people about your opportunity and or what you're passionate about. They don't have the tools. And I'll give a shout out for anyone that is an entrepreneur that wants to really learn the art of really connecting with people. Get with Ray Higdon. Absolutely love him. One of my best mentors, the Ray Higdon group. He's on social media. He has great coaches that are with the Ray Higdon group. Him and Jess have really built an amazing business out of, I think they live in Fort Myers, Naples area. And they're real, they're raw, and you will get the necessary tools. So if you're an entrepreneur that's starting out, and maybe your company and or your leadership team is really not giving you really good advice on how to reach out to people to share what you're passionate about, he will give you excellent tips. And that's who I use all the time. Actually, I'm going to be doing I think it's a 3 or 5 day training, free training that he's doing to actually go over those things about being the top earner, but actually really understanding the art of communicating with people in such a way on social media that you're not coming off salesy and sleazy and ooey and gooey, like, okay, your friend requested me and now you're jumping on board. A lot of people say it really takes time to build that relationship. So it's kind of twofold. I just, we're both in that industry, and I share my passion. I live it, my life. So my life is what I'm passionate about. People ask me, then we'll chat with them about it. Are there certain people that maybe will put out a post saying, I'm tired, I'm exhausted, I'm miserable, you got any suggestions? Yeah, then I may private message them, say, hey, if you want to take a look at what I'm doing, I absolutely love what I'm doing. I feel good, I feel amazing. I've got that great energy, mental clarity, whatever it may be. That's how I handle it. But I understand where it does come off kind of funky.
Yeah. I was like, no, thank you. Thank you for thinking of me, but
yeah,
you just keep it nice, and who knows, I may send this person a message in the upcoming weeks. Like, I don't know. We'll see what happens.
That's what it's all about. So Monday Mindset, is really what we're sharing with you today, is having that healthy mindset with relationships, building relationships, keeping relationships, but knowing how to care for those relationships. And it really is the art of talking, the art of gathering, the art of good, clean communication. And the only way you really can do that is either in person or on the phone. That is when you're going to hear the person's voice. You're going to be able to interject and really have that good conversation. And I would bet, not always, maybe 8 out of 10 times, you're going to come out of there feeling much better. You're going to feel like you've accomplished something, maybe that you understood a perspective from your friend that you didn't know, Or maybe you realize, you know what, we're disagreeing over something that is really silly, because a lot of times that's usually what it is. But I say one of the key pieces, and never, never underestimate the power of I am sorry.
Absolutely. And on that note, Mindset Monday, how are you going to go forward today? How are you going to reach out and connect through messages? Hopefully you pick up that phone as well. That's always a good tool. And my name is Janice, aka Wellness Diva 5.0, and I'm with
TwoSistas, and this is Carol, so aka Naughty Boss Life. I'm a gorgeous, beautiful, sunny day. I have to say in Vero Beach, I think it was not last night, the night before, we actually got down to 68 degrees at night. So while that's not typical fall weather for New England, that's about as fallish as I'm willing to go in Florida.
Oh, and I got to show you something real quick.
You do? She's got her slippers on.
Yeah, my thick wintertime wear around the house socks, and I started wearing them yesterday, and let me tell you, my feet are much happier. And on that note, we gotta go. Bet you.
Everyone take care. We will see you tomorrow.
All right.
We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.